SMT Nation, we back. Nation, we've got our second key market in root metrics testing for the second half of this year. We had, Louisville, Kentucky, and we did that overview last week. And now we got our second market for the year, Charlotte, North Carolina, and we've got insights on how the network is performing for all of the big three, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. Kind of in that order in terms of overall performance. Not much has changed with respect to the way they placed since last half, but there's some details in there that are quite telling. And, let's be mindful that Verizon probably didn't have, the bandwidth increase from C-band impacting this just yet. I'm not sure if it made it into this particular testing. This testing could have been done, several weeks ago, and it may predate the bandwidth boost. But anyways, with that kind of out of the way, let's move forward with this. I'll be sure to link the data points here. The metro area root score for root, it'll be in the description. Also in the description, the Real SMT Buy Me Coffee link. If you want to support your creators directly, that's one way to do it. There are other ways as well. Like the Mint Mobile partner link, if you use it, the Green Fox can help you save money. So currently, if you use our partner link, mintmobile.com/Sneed, down in the description, you can unlock savings. The deflation promo pricing still appears to be active. So check them out, take advantage of those deals. And I think it's something that's really worthwhile looking into. The switching process is super easy. They'll ship you a SIM card pretty quick, or you can activate on eSIM, which is really easy and painless. So check them out. Partner link in the description. All right, folks. So Charlotte, North Carolina is done for the second half of 2023. This is the second city metro area that's done at root, and it gave us some pretty interesting things here. All right, now I just want to look at the overall performance, then we'll look at the detailed sections. So overall, things are pretty much the same. Verizon number 1, AT&T number 2, and T-Mobile number 3. So when we look back at the first half of testing compared to the second half, that is exactly the same. Now, if we switch over to network reliability, we can kind of see, and actually, let me move this over so you guys can kind of see the scores there. Okay, so when you go to network reliability, the ranking, I guess, sort of changes a little bit. T-Mobile's still third, but AT&T and Verizon were shared first place, and now they're also shared again, but they've got Verizon up top. But really, it's the same outcome. Okay, now when it comes to network accessibility, AT&T's still the laggard within the industry, and the placeholders, they're still the same. All right, now network speed. AT&T had a perfect 100 score. It went down to 98.9. Okay, so that's something to note. Verizon came in second last half. Now they came in third. So T-Mobile kind of moves up in the ranking, tying AT&T for first there. So that's interesting to note. All right, now moving over to data performance. And we got Verizon finishing third. Previously, they finished first. Okay, so there's some movement there. AT&T and T-Mobile tying for first. So I think that's a big deal. All right, that is definitely a big deal. Calling performance, that tells a different story as always. All right, was AT&T, they were first. Verizon was tied ranking for first as well. They still are, but Verizon had the slightly higher ranking this time. Okay, and T-Mobile coming in third in calling, per usual. Now, that's typically all we cover, but I do want to talk about something here that I think is important, and that's what happened to their scores within each category. So let's go over these details. First of all, in reliability, Verizon regressed, down minus 0.2, AT&T minus 0.3, and T-Mobile down minus 1.0. When it comes to accessibility, all right, Verizon down minus 0.4, AT&T plus 1.0, and T-Mobile down minus 0.7. So Verizon and T-Mobile regress, AT&T improves, and that's AT&T's worst area. In speeds, Verizon down minus 1.2, down minus 1.7, AT&T up plus 1.1, T-Mobile down 1.1. When it comes to data performance, Verizon down 0.9, AT&T down 0.4, T-Mobile down 0.3. And then when it comes to calling, Verizon down 0.3, AT&T down 0.4, T-Mobile down 2.3. So you see that all the networks actually sort of regressed compared to last half's testing. And the most shocking thing, in my opinion, is the fact that T-Mobile's speeds went down 1.1, and they don't really have help coming, right? The only thing they can do is add more sites, split cells, maybe small cells, but they don't have more spectrum, which is typically their cheat code, right? Have more spectrum than everyone. But they don't really have more spectrum coming to Charlotte, North Carolina, unless they build out C-band or DoD holdings they have there, which I don't know if they do. Also, their calling regressed at T-Mobile. Still a problem, and it's getting worse. Minus 2.3. Right? No carrier, regressed in any segment as much as T-Mobile did in calling. So T-Mobile, in half one of this year, took their median download speeds from 197 in the previous half to 464. Huge gains, right? So, and they also increased their uplink to 24 megabits. Huge gains. AT&T had 0 dropped calls in the first half of this year. And then when you look at half two, T-Mobile's median download speed went from 464 to 425, about a 9% decrease. Their median uplink speed got cut in half from about 24 megabits to like 12 megabits. Verizon's median uplink speed also decreased from 12 megabits to 8, about a 30% decrease. And then they didn't have any dropped calls, so that's a good metric. And then AT&T's median uplink speed, went up to 14 megabits per second. So we've got AT&T is showing a couple of fixes, still showing some regression. Verizon showing some regression. T-Mobile showing some regression. Now, like I said, T-Mobile doesn't really have help in the form of spectrum coming. Both Verizon and AT&T do. The next time they test Charlotte, North Carolina, Verizon's median uplink speed, downlink speed are going to be, they're going to exponentially increase because there's so much spectrum in the C-band that's now available that wasn't available probably at the time of the testing. Same thing goes for AT&T. So AT&T and Verizon are probably going to be much better next round of testing. In fact, they probably are today compared to when this testing was done. But my concern is that T-Mobile's calling got much worse, noticeably, lower score, and they don't have more spectrum coming to market per se, unless they're splitting cells, adding 10 gig fiber to more sites, adding small cells, millimeter wave, whatever they might do. So really, what we're seeing is more of the same with respect to the rankings. But I think what the one thing that we could say, is good is that we're seeing some carriers getting better in some areas, but kind of some weakness they're showing for T-Mobile. Now, don't get me wrong. Their median downlink speed is perfectly fine, folks. You're not getting mad about 425 megabits per second, but it did slow down, right? So they are going to have to probably mitigate, some of that usage. Remember, they've got home internet and they've got mobile usage. So it's something to be mindful of. They're a fast-growing company. They've got to tend to that. I'm sure they've got some solutions. They've got to kind of plan, execute. But, it's a shame that Verizon and AT&T didn't have more spectrum to put on air for this testing. We would have seen some interesting results, I think. But what do you guys think of that data? What do you think of all three kind of regressing in some ways? Which regression do you think is the most telling? Me personally, I can't understand how T-Mobile can't figure out calling and how it continues to get worse. And it's really driving down their scores with root metrics. Calling is important, right? The data network is great. We all love our data speeds and reliable data, but you need reliable calls too. You can't text a hospital, you can't text your dentist, sometimes you got to make calls, landlines and stuff like that. And you just have to have reliable calling, and it's sad to see that regress. But what do you guys think? And then also predict, half one of next year, how Charlotte's going to be. Love to hear what you guys have to say on this. You all the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.